Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? I'm Carla Stalling Walter. I'm the author of Dance, Meditation, and Zen for the Black Cancer Patient. This book is available at most retailers online. And of course, if you would be so kind to write a review, that would be great. So let's take a moment and dance around a little bit. Let's swing our arms, you know, just move some. Like, move your eyes, wiggle your face, let it go, wiggle your shoulders. You can do a little dance if you want, snap your fingers, just sort of let it all go. Whatever is happening in your life that's causing you suffering, let's see about letting it go. So, last time I was talking about cultural conditioning, right? And the norms that maybe keep us in habitual and historic ways of thinking, speaking, acting, and that can keep us in suffering, really. In Zen meditation or Zazen, we can let all that go and find really different ways of responding to life situations. We can come to know who we really are and touch and stay at the spiritual spot we really, really long for. Zazen and Zen Buddhism don't conflict with religions, but what Zen Buddhism does deal with is life and death. For me and my family and culture, most people don't talk about death. I don't remember a time when anyone said, "So, hey, Carla, let's talk about death." No, what I heard was anger and fear about someone dying or getting killed, people going to a funeral because this is the way our culture in the West, most people are uncomfortable with death and are afraid of it. And it's confusing, right? All we see is loved ones or people who are no longer here, and the way people leave the planet seems very haphazard and maybe a little crazy, random in lots of cases, senseless in most. Religion tells us something about death sometimes, to the extent that it can give ideas about it, right? Life and everything in it is impermanent, and that's what we do know about death. That means everything is always changing, it's never static. Even if you can't see the changes with your eyes or feel it in your body, everything is always changing, and we call this impermanence. Buddhism sees life and death as two sides of the same coin, so to speak. What happens when we physically die and stop breathing? Nobody knows really. But in Buddhism, we say that death is a continuation of life. And while we're here in this life, we should really understand the nature of suffering or the Four Noble Truths in looking at desire and wanting. And from there, reduce suffering for ourselves and others by following the Noble Eightfold Path. These are offerings that come to us from the Buddha. What I have experienced after being on the brink of dying from multiple myeloma cancer, which I wrote about in chapter 4 of Dance, Meditation, and Zen for the Black Cancer Patient, is that I'm glad I had dance, meditation, and zazen along with the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path to help me. I think it would have been way too late for me at that moment to try to start practicing, to try to understand death and dying. And my cultural conditioning that led me to kind of suffering I felt in my life. So I'd like to read an excerpt from page 51 of Dance, Meditation, and Zen for the Black Cancer Patient. at the top of page 51. Wanting more can be characterized as greed. It can be trying to make the unspoken knowledge or feelings of impermanence go away. It can be more than that, even, as in wanting what you want and wanting it now without considering the impact on others. Greed can be taking out of the earth more than is useful or skillful. In short, greed is the human condition we have been dealt to deal with, shoring up assurances against running out before we die. Running out of material goods, love, friendship, safety, not belonging, not being in the correct group, not knowing what happens at death, or why we have to face life and death. You name it, greed can run our lives directly into the ground. The online search for the meaning of greed returned intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, or food. Covetousness, craving, desire, impatience are all some other words that describe greed. Wikipedia authors talk about greed being insatiable desire for those mentioned just now, as well as also for social status or value. Further, greed creates conflict between personal and social goals, or stated in Zen Buddhist terms, it creates a separation between self and others. Oftentimes, greed leads to lying, stealing, self-aggrandizement. It can also lead to hate and anger. So, dealing with impermanence through those sorts of mechanisms doesn't really solve the problem. It just increases our suffering. And so Zen Buddhism offers us a way out of that through those Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. And of course, that includes Zazen. So I want to thank you again for engaging with this work, and to ask once more, if you haven't already, to please leave a review of Dance, Meditation, and Zen for the Black Cancer Patient on the many platforms that it's available at. And of course, as always, I'm giving you a deep, warm bow.